to Take 10 on Tuesdays with the Tennessee Tribune. My name is Sandra Long-Weaver, and today our guest is Sharon Hurt, who's the president and CEO of JUMP, the Jefferson Street United Merchants Partnership.
Very good.
I think I got it right.
Very good.
So,
you did.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to talk with you today a little bit about where JUMP is and what's going on with JUMP and what we can expect in the future.
Okay.
So let's start with the name of JUMP and how that came to be.
Well, actually, it started out as a pilot program to unite the merchants on Jefferson Street. And Councilman Ludi Wallace was the district council at that time, which also encompasses downtown, where there's a downtown partnership. And the downtown partnership basically serves as a merchants association for the downtown area. And Councilman Wallace was like, well, if we can have one downtown, we can have one uptown. Okay. So they decided to look into a pilot program, and he hired the put together a contract with Terry Chapman and Associates, and they came with this wonderful brand of JUMP, Jefferson Street United Merchants Partnership, and built a great foundation. And all of this happened about 1993. 93. In 1996, that JUMP received its designation as a 501c3 with the IRS. And in 1999, I became the executive director.
All right, and now it is 2015, and you're still with JUMP. And why is that? Why did you stay so long, and what has kept you with JUMP?
Well, I love it. I love the work. I love the community, and I think that we have progressed in a way that it needed some consistency in order for things to develop. Not only do you have to have the idea, but you have to have a plan, and you have to implement the plan. And to make a difference in a community, to have a renaissance or a redevelopment, it takes 20 to 30 years for that to occur. And I think that having that consistency in the leadership is what has made that possible.
Okay, and so now when you came, it was really still struggling, JUMP, as a nonprofit, and you've been able to really take it to another level.
Yes, I think things were thin during that time. The participation of the merchants and others, you had people who were business owners serving as chair of the organization, and having to put so much of their personal time in it took away from their professional time for their business. So they had to make a decision. And when I came on board, I realized that, first of all, I thought that anyone who was interested in the betterment of Jefferson Street needed to be a member. It should not just be those that were living, working, or had businesses or owned property on Jefferson Street.
So you expanded the interest and the commitment.
Absolutely.
To seeing it.
Absolutely. And we needed money.
Right.
And I know that there are people with money many people with money are outside the boundaries of Jefferson Street. So if I needed money, I had to go outside to bring it in. And that's what made me change some things that created, and I think those things were there because they needed to be in order to build that foundation that was built. We had to have it that way. But we had to change in order for it to expand and to strengthen the organization as we moved forward. After being there for several years, I realized that we couldn't just be a merchants association,
Right.
because retail actually follows residents. So I had to bring the people who lived in the community involved. You know, they're the ones who help make the businesses sustain themselves by purchasing the goods and products that they serve.
Right, in
That's
the community.
in the community, and that's one of the reasons that I had created the Jefferson Street Jazz and Blues Festival.
Yes. Now, what year did that start?
It actually started in 2000.
In 2000.
Yes.
Oh, so
This
immediately
year's-
after you took over,
Yes.
then it started.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know.
And we are celebrating our 15th year. It's always been the third weekend in June.
Okay. That's exactly what I wanted to ask
Yes.
you about. When is it scheduled
Yes.
this year in 2015?
Yes.
So the third weekend in June.
The third weekend in June, because, you know, if you spend time on Jefferson Street, as much as I have, you know, I was outside and I saw cars going up and down the street. And we just didn't need people going up and down the street. They needed to stop and see what's actually here.
Right.
And although we may not have 300 thriving businesses, we needed for people to see what we actually had.
Right.
So that was the reason that I started the Jefferson Street Jazz and Blues Festival. Wanted to celebrate something that that was cultural, and of course music is that for us, and
Right.
it's a universal language. So not only did it bring people of color together, but those people who are lovers of music,
Right.
and it grew.
And this is Music City.
It is Music City, and we started out in 2000 with about 1,500 participants and attendees, and it grew up into 2010 to about 30,000 people on Jefferson Street. As far as you could see, there were people on Jefferson Street for the Jazz and Blues Festival. And I actually had people tell me that they didn't realize that some of the businesses did the things that they did or had. One person actually told me that she was able to go in a barbershop and found out that if the kids made good grades on their report cards, they got a discount.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
after so many times of going, they actually got a free haircut. So all of those were some incentives for her to bring her son over to Jefferson Street to
For a
get
haircut.
those services.
Right.
Yes.
Wow. Now, so what can we expect for this year? Have you lined up all of...
Well, we have secured a couple people. Angela Winbush, you remember, with Renee and Angela, and she was actually discovered by Richard Smallwood. She wrote several #1 songs for the Isley Brothers in the 80s. She went on tour with Stevie Wonder, and oh my God, talk about Stevie Wonder. The concert last week was
just here, yeah.
amazing. It was so amazing.
Yeah, that was a great concert.
It really was. And then we also have Phil Perry, who's a true jazz musician and artist, and we are excited. And we have another person that we have been courting. We're not exactly sure if that individual has been confirmed.
Okay.
There's a scheduling challenge.
Okay. We'll take a look. But if people are interested, should they check the website?
Oh,
to
absolutely.
Be
You
updated?
can check the website at jumpnashville.com or jumptojefferson.com.
Okay.
And you'll find information. But it is June the 19th and 20th, and we will kick it off with our Bridging the Gap mixer that we have on the Siegenthaler, formerly the Shelby Street Bridge,
Right.
where downtown Nashville meets uptown Jefferson Street.
Perfect.
And it's going to be a fabulous weekend, just like always.
Oh, it
And
sounds
one
like
thing
it.
that we're adding is Jump Sunday
Oh,
to
really?
our weekend. Yes, well,
And
we're
what is
asking the churches to consider Jump and take up a special offering. You know, you can ask your membership for $1. Just give a dollar for Jefferson Street or whatever it is that your heart desire. to maintain the integrity of this community, looking at all of the things that are happening on Jefferson Street and the developments that are coming. It concerns me about the sustainability and the vitality of the organization. We've been here for quite some time, and we want to stay here.
Good.
And to have the support of the community, and there's no better support than to have those churches, and especially the ministers, with that high relationship. I do a lot of praying,
right,
and meditating, and I do consider this a calling for me. But to have the blessed hands of some of his few chosen,
right, to support the organization,
to support the area, the organization, and to have their congregations to do the same, I think speaks volumes for us.
And one last thing I wanted to ask you about. You mentioned a little bit about new development that is coming. And Jefferson Street does seem to be on the cusp of change, and there's a lot of growth in Nashville right now.
Yes.
What do you see ahead for Jefferson Street?
Well, it all depends on how we approach it. I think that there's an opportunity for it to be an almost perfect community.
In what sense?
In the sense that we have to have diversity. I think there's strength in differences, and I think we can bring black, white, young, old, a diverse group of professionals together. We have workforce communities that we are supporting, and those people who have sustained this community throughout the 20, 30 years, 50 years, really, when you go back to its glory days.
Okay.
Those individuals who were here some 50 years ago when we had 17 nightclubs, when any and everything you wanted was right here on Jefferson Street. You had bowling alleys, skating rinks, movie theaters. When Cab Calloway and Tina Turner, Ike and Tina came, and Aretha Franklin and Jimi Hendrix. The list go on. Duke Ellington, the list go on and
they
on.
all came to Jefferson Street.
They all came to Jefferson Street. They all were here. James Brown, Jackie Wilson, and Soulful Dale. You hear many people remembering those days and remembering those times. While we won't have those days again, I think that we can still have some prosperous days for us, because we have the university still here. We have the churches that are still here. We have individuals who are doing much better these days than they were those days. I do think that integration has been, it's had its dark side and been problematic for us as a people, although I do think that it has helped us individually. So if we individually would come together and truly unite, I think that we all can find exactly what it is that we need: the peace, the joy, the happiness to live, work, play in this community. I think people come here and they would love to celebrate the history, the rich history that we have. It's amazing, and it's just beautiful. I can feel it, and I think others can too. As a matter of fact, just last week I had my kickoff event for my campaign as I'm running for office, which I too think is...
Well, let me just back up. You're running for council at large this year, and and joining, there's a field, I think, right now of about 11 candidates, and so you've just kicked off your campaign.
Yes, I kicked off officially my campaign on last Thursday, April 9th, and it was kicked off at the Elks Lodge.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is the only standing nightclub that existed during the glory days of Jefferson Street. It was the Club Bearing,
Mm-hmm.
and it also, that's where the skating rink was held.
Oh, really?
They had a skating rink there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nightclub, and just many things to many people.
Okay.
And we had a diverse group of people
Mm-hmm.
in Jefferson Street in the Elks, and we had I had friends who were white friends to come over, and they danced the night away to the tunes of Tyrone Super T.
Okay.
Smith,
Okay.
who is my honorary chairman,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a fabulous evening.
Okay.
And that to me is an example of how we all can come together and celebrate the wonderful history that Jefferson Street has.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say it can be perfect for us all, or almost perfect
For all of us.
for us all.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me
Thank you
today.
for having me.
And thank you for joining us. Our guest today has been Sharon Hurt, President and CEO of JUMP, Jefferson Street United Merchants Partnership. I still struggle a little bit with it.
I understand, but if anyone is interested, you can please give us a call at 615-726-JUMP. That's 615-726-5867. You can go to our website at jumpnashville.com, or you can also reach it at jumptojefferson.com. We look to hear from you.
All right. Thank you.